In the quiet moments of life, when the world slows down and you're left with your thoughts, what defines you? Is it the words you speak, the promises you make, or something deeper? Han Fei, an ancient philosopher, once said, "A man's character is shaped by his actions, not his words." These words carry a truth that resonates across time, urging us to look within and ask, are we living in alignment with who we aspire to be? Today, let's explore this powerful idea, uncover its wisdom, and discover how it can guide us toward a life of purpose and growth. Life is not always easy. We face challenges that test our resolve, moments of doubt, fear, or failure that make us question our path. Perhaps you've felt the weight of a missed opportunity, the sting of a broken promise, or the pressure to prove yourself in a world that often values appearances over substance. These struggles are universal. They creep into our minds, whispering that we're not enough, that our words must be louder, our image shinier. We're tempted to hide behind carefully crafted phrases, to let our words paint a picture of who we want to be rather than who we are. But in those moments, we risk losing sight of what truly matters. The world is noisy, filled with voices competing for attention, and it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that what we say defines us. Yet, deep down, we know the truth. Words alone are fleeting. They fade like echoes in the wind unless they're backed by something real. So what does Han Fei's wisdom mean for us? At its core, this quote is a call to authenticity. It reminds us that character is not built in the spotlight of grand speeches or clever phrases, but in the quiet, consistent choices we make every day. It's about integrity, aligning what we do with what we believe. Philosophically, it challenges us to shift our focus from external validation to internal truth. Are we acting in ways that reflect our values, even when no one is watching? Are we choosing courage over comfort, honesty over convenience? This perspective is liberating because it places the power to shape our character firmly in our hands. Every action, no matter how small, is a brushstroke on the canvas of who we are. It's a reminder that growth doesn't happen in a single moment of brilliance, but in the steady accumulation of choices that align with our highest selves. To understand the depth of Han Fei's words, let's step back into the world he lived in. Han Fei was a thinker in ancient China during the Warring States period, a time of chaos and conflict around the 3rd century BCE. Rulers and philosophers grappled with questions of power, order, and human nature. Han Fei was part of the legalist school, which emphasized clear laws and practical actions over lofty ideals. In a world where trust was scarce and words were often used to deceive, Han Fei saw actions as the true measure of a person's worth. For him, character was not about what someone claimed to be, but what they did under pressure, in the face of temptation, or when the stakes were high. His philosophy was grounded in a stark realism. Words could manipulate, but actions revealed the heart. This historical context gives his quote a timeless weight. Even today, in a world of social media and sound bites, we see the same truth. Actions cut through the noise and show us who someone really is. Let me tell you a story about a man named Elias, who lived in a small coastal village. Elias was known for his eloquent words. He could captivate a crowd with tales of bravery and wisdom, and people often sought his advice. But Elias carried a secret. He rarely followed through on his promises. He'd speak of helping the poor, rebuilding the village school, or standing up for the weak. But when the time came to act, he'd find excuses. One day, a fierce storm ravaged the village, leaving the fishing docks in ruins. The community was devastated, their livelihood at stake. Elias, as always, stood before the villagers, promising to lead the rebuilding effort. But days passed, and he did nothing. leaving others to toil in the rain and mud. A quiet fisherman named Torin, who rarely spoke, worked tirelessly, organizing the repairs and rallying the villagers. Torin's hands were calloused, his clothes soaked, but his actions restored the docks and the village's hope. When the work was done, no one remembered Elias's words, but Torin's deeds became legend. Elias, humbled, began to change. He started small, helping a neighbor, keeping a promise, and over time, his actions reshaped his character, earning him respect not for what he said, but for what he did. What can we learn from Elias and Torin? The lesson is simple yet profound. Our actions are the building blocks of our character. Words can inspire, but only deeds create lasting change. This is where personal growth begins, in the courage to act, to show up, to do the right thing even when it's hard. It's about taking responsibility for the gap between who we are and who we want to be. Maybe it's choosing to listen instead of speaking, to help a stranger, or to keep a commitment when it's inconvenient. These moments, though small, ripple outward, shaping not just our character but the world around us. Han Fei's wisdom teaches us that growth is a journey of action, not a destination reached through words alone. It's a hopeful message because it means we have the power to change, to become better, one choice at a time. As you reflect on this, think about your own life. What actions are you taking to shape your character? Are you living in a way that aligns with your deepest values? If you feel stuck or uncertain, that's okay. Growth starts with awareness. Notice the moments when your actions and words diverge, and choose one small step toward alignment. Maybe it's showing up for someone you care about, finishing a task you've delayed, or standing up for what you believe in. These choices, made consistently, will carve a path toward a stronger, truer version of yourself. Han Fei's words remind us that character is not a gift we're given. It's a legacy we build. So let's build wisely. Let's act with intention, with courage, with hope. Because in the end, it's not what we say that defines us, it's what we do.